How long do you think you need to make $1,000,000? If you're a professional lawyer, engineer, or an accountant who makes like $100 an hour, in that case, you need to save every penny you earn for 5 years in a row, which is impossible because you need food on the table and a roof over your head. But let's just say hypothetically, how long do you need to make $1,000,000,000? If you earn $100 for every hour you're alive, assuming you work 24/7 and don't sleep, eat, or do anything else, you need 1,141 years, and you still won't make 1% of Jeff Bezos' net worth. Because to compete with Jeff Bezos, you need to multiply that number by 200. That really shows you that there is no way to build wealth if you plan to just make more money per hour. There are other ways, such as making your money work for you, that we have discussed in previous videos, or creating something that brings value to a huge number of people like most of these entrepreneurs have done. I mean, when you create an operating system that 95% of all computers use, you instantly make billions of dollars since there are billions of computers worldwide, or a platform that delivers billions of packages annually to hundreds of millions of people. You make billions of dollars as well. But you don't need that much money, to be honest. Every extra dollar you earn after paying all of your bills is just another digit on your smartphone. On my way to financial freedom, I've realized that habits have played a huge role in my personal success. If there is one piece of advice I will give to anyone striving to become financially free, it's focus on acquiring the right habits. Because if you do not, you will automatically develop bad habits, since we humans are creatures of habits, which is why I want to talk in this video about some of the most important habits that have helped me to achieve financial freedom. But before we do that, make sure to give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, and let's get right into it. The number one habit that I would recommend everyone to start with is tracking every dollar you spend. It sounds so simple, but it's by far the most important and effective habit you can develop, and many people take it for granted. They think they can do it in their head, but it doesn't work. You need to write it somewhere, whether you write it in a journal, use an app, or do it through Excel. You should set up a system where you can easily find out where exactly do you spend your money. Some people have so many subscriptions that they don't use much, but waste a fortune. A $10 subscription here, a $15 subscription there, and a $12 subscription here. In a single month, they turn to $37 or $444 a year. Imagine investing that money instead. It will turn into a fortune. In 30 years, that will turn into over $92,000. It's a good example to illustrate that every dollar you save today will become far more valuable in the future through the power of compounding. It's so easy to waste money that even if you make 10 times the amount you need, you can easily blow it up if you do not track your spending. I can say that from my personal experience. The second habit I would recommend is build systems. I try to automate everything in my life because as you get older, you start to understand that the most valuable thing you ever have is time. Believe me, time doesn't equal money. Time is far more valuable than money. The amount of free time you have is the ultimate sign of how wealthy are you. Because the more free time you have, the more time you can spend on thinking, studying, and finding more ways to make more money. Take for example tracking your spendings. It takes a lot of time to track your spendings. But for me, I don't spend more than 30 to 40 minutes a month on that because I've already created a system where I can do that quickly. I used to use Excel before, but now I use Notion. I've created a table with all of my expenses, subscriptions, income, and everything else. I have fixed expenses and variable expenses. The moment I get a new subscription or another fixed expense, I immediately add it. I try to pay for everything with my credit card, and at the end of every week, I just match my spendings through my banking app with my budget. If it matches, I'm doing great. If not, then I try to adjust my spendings. With minimum effort and time, I keep my spendings in check. Or let's say I'm analyzing a certain company. There are a few metrics I look for in a company. If it meets my standards, I take an in-depth look into it. If it doesn't, I just skip it so I don't waste time looking at companies I would not invest anyways. So look at your life, your job, or your responsibilities and figure out how to automate them. And thank me later when you realize how much time it's going to save you. The third habit is don't invest in what you don't understand. If there is one piece of advice I would give to my younger self, then it would be this. This is the mistake I made multiple times, and I see people doing it over and over. Investing is risky. It doesn't matter what you invest in. And when you invest in something you do not understand, it's worse than gambling. You're almost guaranteed to lose money. Here is the lesson. There is no such thing called as investing in one thing is better than the other. Overall, the economy is moving forward, so whether you invest in the stock market, real estate, startups, your own business, an ETF, it doesn't matter. In the long run, they're all profitable. The challenge is to pick the right real estate, the right stock, or the most promising business, and the only way to do that is to have a deep understanding of that industry. When they say that you should diversify your investment, keep 40% of your portfolio in stocks, 30% in real estate, and the rest in different asset classes. That advice for people who already have tens of millions of dollars, not for the average folk who lives paycheck to paycheck. So forget all of that and focus only on one industry or one asset class. Number 4. Produce instead of consume. Our society is divided into two groups. The first ones are the producers and the second ones are the consumers. We're all somewhere in the middle. No one is entirely a consumer or no one is entirely a producer. But the question is, are you more of a producer or are you more of a consumer? Take YouTube for example. There are people who create content and then there are people who consume that content. The question is, which one are you? The ones who are producing are probably much better financially than the ones who consume. If you spend most of your time just consuming and consuming, then you shouldn't be surprised if you're doing horrible financially. Start thinking about how you can become a producer. It's not just about the YouTube, it's pretty much about everything else. But today it's difficult because you're constantly distracted by what others produce. The moment you pick up your phone, you get bombarded by what others are producing. You end up wasting hours and hours of your time watching YouTube when instead you plan just to check out what's going on. So start making that shift. If I'm spending 4 or 5 hours a day working and the rest I spend consuming, how can I at least spend half of my time producing? And what can I produce? The moment you make that change, you will not just start making more money, but you will start spending less money. The final habit is think twice before making a decision. This habit might not seem so important, but it's one of the most important habits I have ever developed. Often what happens with us is that we take a decision without giving it much thought and then later down the road we realize that it was a terrible decision. You waste $1,000 to buy a gadget and then realize that it was a waste of money. You take a loan and then find out that it was unnecessary, but it's too late already. The damage has been done. I've made that mistake a million times. So despite the importance of being able to make decisions fast and quickly, I give myself more time. If I can postpone it to the next day and think about it in the morning with fresh head, I would do it. Especially if it's spending a lot of money or a long-term commitment. Try not to take instant decisions. In fact, the fewer decisions you take, the better. That's why habit number 2 is so important. Because the more you can automate, the more time you will have to spend on more important decisions. If you have enjoyed this video, you will most definitely enjoy this custom playlist that I have created specifically for you that has our most popular videos on business, investing, and the stock market that could potentially change your life. Now give this video the thumbs up that it deserves and make sure to subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Thanks for watching and until next time.